Chapter 67. Jade, Cicada, and the Possessing of Souls. Facing a Dharma artifact head-on. "Are you an idiot?" Sanchi landed in front of the shattered corpse with a disdainful expression. His physical body was already comparable to the lowest-level Dharma artifacts. With the enhancement of true energy, his punch just now was equivalent to using Dharma artifacts to attack. Did this guy think that he could take a punch from him just because he was invulnerable? After saying that, he frowned and looked at the ground. He was surprised. Why is there no notification? This guy is not dead yet. His expression sank as he recalled what Cicada had said when he killed Haiduzi's goo corpse. Could it be that this fellow wasn't his main body? No. If this was just a goo corpse, he should not be able to use Dharma artifacts. Goo. Hess would be a goo right now. Haiduzi had probably turned into a goo insect and was still alive. His sharp gaze landed on the flesh and blood. He took out the gentleman's sword and fiddled with it. Soon, he discovered a black worm. Instead, Sanchi poked it with his sword. The bug was very fragile and broke into two. Interesting, such a fragile worm can actually make its host body as hard as iron. Sanchi could not help but sigh at the wonders of this goo. If it was in his previous life, it would definitely be the subject of intense research by scientists. Still more response. Hess sneered and picked up his storage bag. He then raised his hand and formed a seal, condensing a fireball in his palms. The extremely high temperature emitted caused the air to distort. The fireball condensed by Sanchi's true energy was far hotter than ordinary fireballs. With a tap of his finger, the fireball landed on the shattered corpse. The high temperature was released, directly igniting it and turning it into ashes at a speed visible to the naked eye. As expected of the fireball of the cultivation world, its temperature is impressive. It was Sanchi's first time dealing with a corpse and burning it felt pretty good. From the burning flesh and blood, something suddenly flew out and turned into a jade-colored spot of light as it tried to escape. He really didn't die and turned into an insect. Sanchi was stunned. Although the other party ran quite fast, he still saw it clearly. It was an insect that looked like a jade cicada. "Do you think you can escape?" With a sneer, he took a step forward and chased after it. Under the influence of the yin-yang reversal formation disc, the jade cicada seemed to be escaping. But it was actually flying around in a circle like a headless fly. "Damn this trapping array!" Haiduzi's furious voice came from within the jade cicada. When he sensed a huge hand grabbing at him from behind, his body swayed as he dodged. "You're quidagil." Sanchi was rather surprised that he missed. His current physique was very strong, even at the Foundation establishment realm. If he did not condense a Dharma body, he probably would not be able to withstand his own strength. However, the phantom image steps enhanced by his powerful physique still could not catch this thing. Swoosh! Seeing that he could not escape, the latter suddenly changed his direction and turned to fly at Sanchi, wanting to attack. Clang! The sound of swords rang out. The gentleman's sword pierced through the air. The jade cicada hurriedly dodged. The sword light brushed past its wings and actually caused sparks to appear. Then, he turned his wings and flew towards his own Dharma artifacts. Sanchi was shocked. Why was this insect's body like refined iron? It was completely different from the black worm. He hurriedly slapped out and the 9-yang true energy from his palms formed a millstone-sized flame palm print that blasted over. The jade cicada did not expect Sanchi to know martial arts, where he did not even need to form a seal to launch a ferocious attack. As such, he only managed to dodge a portion of the palm print. Boom! Thereon sand palm struck the jade cicada and the power of fire contained in it made it scream. Half of its body turned charred black and it was blasted to the side of the On's bold Dharma artifact. "Please, spare me. I'm privy to a fortuitous opportunity that can grant immortality. All I ask in exchange is for my life." The jade cicada begged for mercy. A great opportunity. Sanchi pursed his lips seemingly in consideration before he slashed at the jade cicada. Ting! A portion of the tip of a sword like the gentleman's sword actually shattered. However, under the pressure of the powerful force contained in it, it successfully cut the jade cicada in half. His expression was cold. "I'm not interested in whatever opportunity. I just want to kill you." What kind of opportunity could compare to his lucky draw system? And after all, what kind of grudge could compare to how this fellow almost exterminated his entire family? The jade cicada let out a miserable cry and trembled a few times. Suddenly, it shone brightly. "Ah, you destroy my precious cicada body. I will possess your soul now." Haiduzi's soul let out a strange cry. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it shot out from the shattered the Jade Cicada and pounced at Sanshi. Possession. Upon hearing this, Sanshi's eyes lit up. This was a unique way to die. Why hadn't he thought of it? He purposefully did not raise his palm that was already covered in flames, looking like he did not have time to react. Haiduzi's soul pounced on Sanshi's body. With the sizzling sound, Sanshi's Vajra Dharma body shone brightly. It was stimulated and erupted with a power that was evil suppressing. "Ah!" Haiduzi cried out in pain as his soul rapidly dimmed under the golden light. He said, indignantly, "Dharma body? How is that possible? How can a 7th level chi refine and cultivator like you cultivate a Dharma body?" Although the Dharma body was only a type of physique, it was on the same level as Dharma. Artifacts San possessed some of the power of Dharma artifacts, coupled with the enhancement of spiritual energy with the strength of certain bones. In the human body, they could match up with Dharma artifacts in battle. How could Sanshi have a physique that was even difficult for foundation establishment cultivators to cultivate? Could it be that he originally had a Kane Dharma body? How unfair the heavens were. They had allowed his enemies to birth such a cultivation genius. F***CK. Don't burn him to death, Sanshi exclaimed in his heart. He hurriedly controlled the power of his Dharma body and restrained it, pretending that he was no match for Haiduzi. Haiduzi's eyes, which were in despair, suddenly lit up as he laughed heartily. "The heavens will not be rid of me yet." He turned into a dim light and entered Sanshi's glabella and began to possess him. Sanshi could only feel a pain in his head. His entire consciousness seemed to have been impacted by something. His head tilted back and he almost staggered and fell. Something drilled into his head and turned into a man in black that appeared in his sea of consciousness. The moment the latter saw Sanshi's soul, he screamed in horror. "Impossible! How can your soul be so strong?" In front of him, there were 3 giant flames that made up Sanshi's soul, which were 3 times larger than his small size. Sanshi looked down at the foreign object in his sea of consciousness and frowned slightly. "In other words, you can't possess me." The latter had already collapsed and his face was filled with resentment. Once the possession skill is activated, it can't be stopped. It's either you die or I die. I don't believe that your soul is really that powerful. He rushed over and opened his mouth. His normal mouth suddenly expanded in this spiritual world, becoming larger than his body, making him look like he wanted to swallow an elephant. Pucci. Unfortunately, before his bloody mouth could engulf the flames completely, his soul collapsed like an egg hitting a rock. In his shattered head, wisps of soul turned into mist and dissipated. Then it was absorbed by Sanshi's sea of consciousness. His soul twisted and returned to his human form. His head had become much smaller and more transparent. "God, I can't accept this," Haiduzi cursed, his expression filled with despair once again. That's it. Houseless, Sanshi didn't think much of it. He didn't even try to block it. Just his instinct in his sea of consciousness made it impossible for Haiduzi to possess him. He raised his hand and grabbed Haiduzi, squeezing him hard. Pucci. Just like a bubble shattering, the other party's soul was crushed into pieces. Wisps of Haiduzi's original soul fused into his sea of consciousness and were slowly devoured. Ding, congratulations on killing the target of death. You are rewarded with 1 chance to draw the lottery. The system notification finally appeared. Sanshi knew that he had successfully killed this guy. Sanshi regained consciousness and glanced at the broken Jade Cicada. What trash! Next time, I will find someone more powerful to possess me. He snorted as a string of memories suddenly surged into his mind. All of them were from Haiduzi. A large number of memories had surged in, causing his mind to be in a mess. Sanshi frowned and concentrated on absorbing it as if he was watching a movie.